The warmth of Jude's body was a familiar comfort against my back. His arm was draped lazily over my waist, his breathing a slow, steady rhythm in the quiet of our bedroom. It was in these moments, in the aftermath of our intimacy, that I almost felt like I belonged. Almost. A soft sigh escaped his lips, a murmur in his sleep. I smiled, turning slightly to press a kiss to his shoulder, but then, the name he whispered wasn't mine. Marnie. The sound was a ghost in the room, a shard of ice sliding down my spine. My smile froze, cracking like thin ice. Jude, my husband, the man whose child I might be carrying, was dreaming of her, always her. The two pink lines stared back at me, stark and unwavering against the white plastic. Pregnant. My hand trembled as I placed the test on the marble countertop of the bathroom. A wave of dizziness washed over me, and it had nothing to do with morning sickness. For 3 years, I had yearned for this. A child, a real, unbreakable connection to this family, to Jude, a reason for them to finally see me, Coralie, and not just the girl who filled a void. But now, staring at the proof, a cold dread coiled in my stomach. It felt less like a blessing and more like a trap. The bathroom door creaked open, and Jude stood there, his hair still damp from his shower. Everything okay, Corey? He asked, his voice laced with that casual concern he did so well. I quickly swept the pregnancy test into the drawer. Fine, I lied, my voice tight, just a little tired. He nodded, already distracted, scrolling through his phone. Big day, Rowan, and I have that final meeting on the Caldwell merger. I watched him, this handsome, successful man I called my husband. Did he ever look at me and feel anything real? Or was I just a part of the perfect picture he'd constructed after she shattered the original? My phone buzzed on the nightstand, pulling me from a restless sleep. It was Rowan. My brother heard the news, he asked, his voice unusually bright. My heart skipped a beat. Had Jude told him about the pregnancy? Had I misjudged everything? What news? I tried to keep my voice even. Marnie's coming home, he announced, the words bubbling with an excitement I hadn't heard from him in years. Her flight lands this evening. The air left my lungs in a silent rush. Marnie, the ghost from the prologue of my life, the girl I replaced, the one they never stopped loving. Isn't it great? Rowan pressed, oblivious to the roaring silence in my ears. Yeah, I choked out, tasting ash. Great. I hung up, the phone slipping from my numb fingers, the two pink lines in the drawer felt like a mockery, an heir for the Astor family, conceived just in time for the return of their true princess. She was coming back to reclaim her throne, and I was the pregnant, inconvenient placeholder sitting on it. After Jude and Rowan left for the office, a suffocating anxiety settled over the house. I needed to know what I was walking into. I decided to go to their office, to bring them lunch, to pretend everything was normal, to see on Jude's face if this was just a friendly visit or the end of my world. The hum of Caldwell Industries was a familiar sound, the sleek glass and steel a testament to Jude's ambition. I was heading towards his office when I heard voices from the adjacent conference room, the door slightly ajar. It was Rowan and Jude, and a woman's soft, almost pleading voice that I recognized from old photographs. Marnie, Rowan, Jude, maybe releasing the video is a bad idea, she was saying, her tone dripping with faux concern. After all, Coralie is pregnant now. My blood ran cold. The video, my breath hitched in my throat as Rowan's voice cut through the air, sharp and dismissive. That's exactly why we're doing it now, he said, the cruelty in his voice stripping the air from my lungs. They say pregnancy softens a woman, but look at her, so vicious she won't even let you come home. I leaned against the wall, my knuckles white, as Jude chuckled. It was a low, dismissive sound that broke something deep inside me. Don't worry about her, he said, his voice laced with an arrogant indifference. What does she know? Our 2 decades of history isn't something she can compete with. He paused, and his next words were the final nail in my coffin. Besides, she's always been a soft touch. She wouldn't do anything to hurt the baby. My fingers dug into my palms, the pain a distant echo. I was a puppet, and I had just heard the masters discussing my strings. Slowly, mechanically, I turned and walked away. An Uber pulled up to the curb as I stepped out of the building. The driver smiled kindly. Where to, miss? My lips parted, but for a moment, no sound came out. Then 2 words, flat and serene, sealed my fate. The hospital, section 04. The call started as soon as I was in the car. First Jude, then Rowan. I watched their names flash on the screen, a frantic, alternating rhythm of betrayal. Their concern was a performance, a well-rehearsed play I was no longer willing to watch. I let each call ring until it went to voicemail. My silence seemed to stoke their panic. The phone buzzed again, this time with a text from Rowan. Corey, pick up. We're worried. Then Jude, where are you? The video online. Don't worry, we're handling it. So they had done it. They had thrown my deepest shame to the wolves to appease her. I finally answered Rowan's next call, my voice a dead calm. He and Jude both spoke at once, a jumble of relieved breaths and urgent explanations. Corey, you scared the hell out of us, Jude panted, as if he'd been running. Don't worry about that video. We've got our team taking it down. For a fleeting moment, I wanted to scream at them. Do you enjoy the show? Does my pain make good theater for you? But the words wouldn't come. The part of me that cared was already dead. Okay, I said, my voice a hollow echo of itself. My lack of emotion seemed to unnerve Jude. What's wrong? Are you okay? Don't disappear like that again. Rowan's voice cut in, laced with a new, unfamiliar edge of command. Dad left you in my care. I have a responsibility to you. A dry, mirthless laugh almost escaped my lips. Responsibility, broadcasting his sister's trauma to the world. What a responsible brother. I have to go, I said, and hung up before they could reply. The car pulled up to the polished glass entrance of the Eston City Women's Clinic. I walked in, my steps even and measured. After a brief consultation, the doctor looked at me, her expression a mixture of professional concern and gentle pity. Are you absolutely certain, Mrs. Caldwell? She asked for the 3rd time I met her gaze in the sterile quiet of the room. Yes, I said, my voice clear and steady. I booked the procedure for the following day. Section 05. When the car Jude sent dropped me off at the Grand Astor estate, the house was already buzzing with life, or rather, with her life. Laughter echoed from the living room. Rowan and Jude were flanking Marnie on the sofa, their faces animated with a joy I had never been able to inspire. She was telling some story, her hands gesturing wildly. When she saw me standing in the doorway, her performance didn't miss a beat. With a little squeal, she launched herself off the sofa and into Jude's arms, wrapping her long, toned legs around his waist. It was a display of effortless ownership. Jude, my hero, she cooed, loud enough for me to hear. I'm so scared. Coralie isn't going to throw me out, is she? Rowan spoke first, his his eyes fixed on me with a warning glint. Don't be silly, Marnie, she doesn't have that right. As long as I'm here, this will always be your home. Marnie shot me a triumphant smirk. Over Jude's shoulder, she had won, she always did. Jude finally, reluctantly, set her down as his eyes met mine. There was a flicker of something in his gaze. Guilt, maybe, but it was fleeting. Corey, you're back, he said, forcing a smile. How was your day? He moved towards me, his hand raised to cup my cheek in that familiar, placating gesture. This time I turned my head away, his hand frozen midair. The easy atmosphere in the room evaporated. Jude stared at me, his eyes narrowing. A storm brewing behind their gray depths. Marnie, ever the actress, stepped forward, her expression a mask of gentle concern. Corey, it was my idea to come back, she said softly. It has nothing to do with Rowan or Jude. Please don't be angry with them. Before I could even open my mouth, both men moved, instinctively placing themselves between me and her, a human shield, protecting their treasure from the monster. Marnie is staying here, Rowan stated, his tone leaving no room for argument. She won't be in your way, Corey, Jude said, his voice low and firm, a perfect echo of 3 years ago. This will always be Marnie's home. They were a fortress, impenetrable and united, and I was the outsider, forever laying siege to a castle that would never surrender. Fine, I didn't want it anymore. Okay, I said again, my voice devoid of emotion. I turned and walked to my room, leaving them standing there in a stunned, unsatisfying silence. Section 06. That night, sleep was a luxury I couldn't afford. Thirst drove me from the bed around midnight. As I padded silently down the hallway, I saw them, two figures silhouetted by the moonlight streaming through the large corridor window. Jude and Marnie. Her voice was a venomous whisper. You promised me, you both promised I would be the only Astor daughter, and you are. Jude's voice was a low rumble, meant to soothe. Her room here, it's just a guest room. I never let her touch your old bedroom. Then why is she pregnant? Marnie's voice cracked with jealousy. There was a beat of silence, heavy and damning. Then Jude sighed, a sound of weary regret. It was an accident, a mistake. I was careless that night. I forgot to drug her drink. The floor seemed to tilt beneath my feet. Drug my drink? My fingers clenched into fists, nails biting into my flesh. So that was it. 3 years of quiet desperation, of feeling like a failure, of enduring the pitying looks and the whispers about the barren wife. It was all his doing, a calculated, deliberate sabotage. So what about the baby? Marnie pressed, her voice sharp. No. Jude cut her off instantly, his voice suddenly hard as steel. It's my child. The baby stays. He must have seen the mutinous look on her